In The Star, what does the poet's use of repetition teach readers about the star? In this lesson, you will learn to understand an important idea in a poem by paying attention to repetition. Let's review. We're doing a close reading of The Star by Jane Taylor, and we know it's a poem. The question asks about repetition in the poem. Repetition means words that are written more than once. To answer the question, we're going to first reread the text and highlight important repeated words. Second, we'll ask, why would the poet repeat these words? What do the words teach me about the subject? Third, we'll jot our ideas. What does the poet's use of repetition teach readers about the star? First, we'll reread the poem and highlight important repeated words. Remember, not all repeated words are important words. I see the word in repeated, but it doesn't teach me much about the star, so it's not important. Pause the video now to reread and highlight important repeated words. When I reread, I noticed an important word about the star at the beginning. Here's the word twinkle, and the poet repeats the word in the first line. Twinkle is repeated in other parts of the poem too. So, what do these repeated words teach us about the star? Let's ask ourselves, why would the poet repeat these words? What do they teach me about the subject, the star? When I see the word twinkle repeated, of course, it teaches me about what the star is doing. It's twinkling. It's shining. But the poet could have written just once that it was twinkling. Instead, she wrote twinkle many times. What does that teach me about the star? I already know the speaker talks to the star. She thinks the star is special, like a diamond, and the star is helpful to the traveler. So when the poet writes that the star twinkles and twinkles and twinkles and twinkles, I think she wants me to know that the star is always in the night sky. She can always look up and see it twinkle because it doesn't stop or go away. What does the poet's use of repetition teach readers about the star? We'll jot down our ideas because we can understand better when we put the thoughts in our mind into words on paper. What does repeating twinkle teach us about the star? Repeating the word twinkle shows that the star shines all night long. The speaker knows she can look up and see it twinkle any time. It's always there for her. This special star will always be there in the sky if she wants to talk to it or if she needs help. Something that's always there for you when you need it is reliable or dependable. She can always depend on the twinkling star to be there to help her. To answer the question, we first reread the text and highlighted important repeated words. Second, we asked, why would the poet repeat these words? What do these words teach me about the subject? Third, we jotted our ideas. In this lesson, you have learned to understand an important idea in a poem by paying attention to repetition.
Okay, boys and girls, now that you guys have learned a little bit why repetition is important, I'm going to put the example up of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and the repetition. In poetry, repetition is repeating words, phrases, lines, or stanzas. Yes, you could even repeat a whole stanza as groups of words together. Repetition is used to emphasize a feeling, idea, create rhythm, and or develop a sense of urgency. So when you hear words repeated, the author, it's much like when you hear something repeated in novels, right? When we've talked about symbols or repeated objects, repeated, they're trying to get the reader to understand that something's important, to emphasize it. But repeating something also, because poetry has a very, almost like a rhythm or a melody, repeating words kind of makes it sound interesting, okay? So you boys and girls are going to be reading this poem today, the poem Clouds. You're going to record one poem you have a question about, and I'll go through this again. When I go through this, what I'd like you to do on this poem, on this post-it, I'd like you to do what they did in the video that we just looked at. I want you to write the significance of what the repeated words were, okay? So, and then here again, it says read the poem 2 times, highlight the part that's telling you what's in the sky. So you guys can read this and use this highlighted piece. Remember, you're going to do this, edit, copy, and then you're going to go up here and say edit, paste to put the highlighting part where you want to, and then you're going to change the size. Is the poet observing sheep? Explain. The poet enjoys watching the clouds move along the sky to relax. What do you do to relax? And then on this last question, good readers visualize as they read stories and poem. What did you visualize as you read this poem? Draw it on a piece of paper. Be sure to label your illustration to show what you pictured in your mind as you read the poem. Use the space below to type about your illustration. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can actually draw it, okay? Take a picture of it with your phone or your parents' phone, and then say, insert image. So you're going to have to save it. So you can do it on your camera here and just put it in front of your computer and take a picture that way. You can save it on the phone on your Google Drive and then just say insert image drive. Or if you, so if you take a picture of your phone from your phone, you then upload it to the Google Drive. Or you can do another thing. You can say insert, and then we're going to go to, let me find it here. You can add some shapes of what you see, okay, here. And I think there's a spot where you can insert a Google drawing. And I'm just looking where it is. Not diagram, word art, table, shape. Well, if you can find where it says insert Google drawing, let me see if I can find it another way. I'm not sure where it is, but if you couldn't find insert Google drawing, you could also do a drawing that way. Okay, so you have your shapes. You can insert an image from your phone that you've taken a picture of. You can draw it and use this camera and just take a picture of it that way. I'm going to go through really quickly and read the poem, and it says, Clouds, written by Christina Rossetti, from 1830 to 1894. White sheep on a blue hill. So we see repeated words. When the wind stops, you all stand still. You all stand still. Sorry. When the wind blows, you walk away slow. White sheep, where did you go? So we notice there's some repeated phrases here, and I'm going to read it again with those phrases just highlighted. So white sheep, we're on a blue hill. When the wind stops, you all stand still. When the wind blows, you walk away slow. White sheep, where did you go? So I see here that white sheep are important phrases, and I want to know, why is white sheep so important? And I'm going to give you a hint that it has to do with creating a metaphor, okay? Because if you look at the poem, There's a metaphor for what white sheep means. I'm also going to say when the wind stops and when the wind blows, because that's giving you an idea of what happens when these things are moving, when they're slow. So on this Post-it, you're going to write why these words are significant, the repeated words. And be sure if you're going to do white sheep, you're going to write white sheep, and then write the reasons why. So I might say white sheep, and then I'm going to give my reasons why. So I'm just going to randomly type something right now because I want to see your thinking, and then you can highlight it and give it bullets if you want. I'll just leave that there for you guys so that you can use the bullets. And then again, when the wind, then you could do when the wind down here. And if you want to get rid of the bullet, you just go ahead and press that again. All right, boys and girls. So you have your work for today. So I'm going to go back and you put the twinkle, twinkle, little star in right after this, or the star, so that you can see where the repeated words are. And go ahead and do your assignment for today. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.